Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about some anime that have absolutely horrible endings. Now the three anime I'm going to be talking about in this video are Berserk, Oreimo and Air Gear. So if you want to watch these series at any point in the near future, feel free to leave the video now. So we'll start off with Berserk, and in order to explain why I hate Berserk's ending so much, I'll give you a little bit of backstory. The story of Berserk follows Guts, who works as a lone mercenary until he gets recruited into a group called the Band of the Hawk. He's convinced to join by their strong and handsome leader Griffith, as well as their female vice commander Casca. Throughout the story, Guts develops a lot of relationships with many of the members of the Band of the Hawk, especially with Griffith. Him and Griffith become really close, and towards the end of the series, he actually develops a romantic relationship with Casca. Now in the final few episodes, the group get transported into what is called the Astral Realm, which is basically hell. There's demons everywhere and everybody in the Band of the Hawk is getting absolutely slaughtered. By the end of it, there's only 3 people left: Guts, Casca and Griffith, who has recently been transformed into a demon. Now this next scene was actually really hard for me to watch the first time I saw it. The newly transformed demon Griffith comes down and starts raping Casca right in front of Guts, and he can't do anything about it because his arm is caught in the mouth of a demon. He's stabbing the demon and it won't let go. He actually ends up cutting off his own arm in order to get at Griffith to try and stop him, but almost as soon as he breaks free, he gets pounced on by this bird demon and held down to the ground. He can do nothing. He can do nothing but watch the love of his life be sexually violated by his former best friend. He's so full of rage and anger at this point that he lets out a mighty scream. Roll credits. Yes, the ending literally is that abrupt. I ended up having to rewind the video about 4 times in order to see if I'd missed anything. To the show's credit, there actually is a scene that's fairly easy to miss. At the end of the credits, you see that Guts has escaped the Astral Realm, he's got a new arm, he's all healed up, and he's going after Griffith in order to get his revenge. So you might be asking, how did Guts escape the Astral Realm? Never explained. Now, I know because I read the manga, which is probably the only really good thing about the crappy ending that the anime has, is it actually inspired me to read the manga. However, if all you had was the anime, you'd have no idea how all of this happened. Now I understand that with long-running manga series like Berserk, it can be very difficult to find a good place to end its anime adaptation because you only have a limited number of episodes. However, I can't understand how they thought it was a good idea to end the anime on a rape scene. It just boggles my mind. Alright, moving on to Oreimo, which is also known as My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute. The show follows Kyosuke, who's a very normal 17-year-old boy who has a very rocky and pretty much non-existent relationship with his sister Kirino. That is until one day he looks in the hallway and he actually finds a porn game just laying there, and it turns out that it's Kirino's. This secret ends up being the catalyst for them forming an absolutely normal, standard relationship between a brother and a sister. Or so I thought. I don't know if I was just ignoring the ancestral overtones in the show or I was just really hoping that it wouldn't go in that direction, but it does indeed go in that direction. In the first episode of the ONA, Kyosuke actually ends up proposing to Kirino and she tearily accepts. Now at this point I was like, okay, I'd hoped that it wouldn't go in this direction, but you know, that was a pretty good scene. Where are you going to go from here? And from there, the anime continued to be pretty enjoyable for me. It dealt with a lot of the negative stigmas that ancestral couples face and how difficult it is for them to be accepted by society. However, they push through, and it ends with Kyosuke and Kirino at the altar. They share a kiss, and then Kirino looks at Kyosuke and she says, "Alright, that's it. We're done. Our 3 months is over. Let's go back to being brother and sister." What? I didn't like this ending for 2 main reasons. Number 1, it makes absolutely no sense. Love is not a light switch. You can't just turn it on and off whenever it's convenient for you. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that Oreimo is a harem anime, so Kyosuke has a ton of different options for potential girlfriends. And he turns them all down so he could date his sister for 3 months. Again, makes absolutely no sense. The second reason why I really hate this ending is it feels like the absolute biggest cop-out that I've ever seen. Now, as I said before, I didn't want this show to go the full incest route. However, once it did, I became invested in it. I became invested in Kyosuke and Kirino's relationship, and this ending absolutely shits on all of that investment that I put into it. Now, I can understand how this ending came to be. Incest is a very controversial topic, and the writer was probably afraid of some of the backlash he might get. However, if you don't want to get backlash for including incest in your story, then just don't include incest in your story. Don't do this half-assed cop-out, oh, incest is kind of cool but not really bullshit. Alright, and with that one out of the way, we come on to the final show, which is Air Gear. Now, Air Gear is set in a world where air treks are popular, and air treks are basically these motorized rollerblades that can do a ton of awesome shit. The story of Air Gear follows Iki, who falls in love with air treks with his first pair and aims to become the king of the Sky Road, which is a very huge accomplishment in the world of Air Gear. Now, while watching this show back in the day, I knew that it wasn't going to end with Iki becoming the Sky King, because Air Gear is also a long-running manga series, and they were on volume 30 at the point I was watching the series, and the anime only had 26 episodes. Since they weren't going to fit all of the manga story into the anime, I was wondering how they were going to end it off. What epic event would they choose to end the anime on? They end it with a long jump contest. Whoopee! The ending was so unbelievably inconsequential and insignificant that I didn't even really feel like it was an ending. Similar to Berserk, Air Gear has an ending that basically forces you to read the manga in order to get any kind of satisfactory conclusion. Honestly, when it comes to Berserk and Air Gear, I feel they would have been better off in just writing new endings. Now, I know that anime-only endings are somewhat looked down upon and they don't always work, however, I can't imagine them being any worse than what we already got, really. I feel that a satisfying ending that moves away from the manga storyline is a hell of a lot better than a shitty ending that sticks with the manga every step of the way. That felt pretty good to get off my chest, I gotta say. So anyway, thank you to everybody who watched this video. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear about some anime that you guys feel have absolutely horrible endings. Also, if you like this video and want to see more, feel free to subscribe as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.